Welcome friends to the Beaver Dam. It's been a while. It has been a while since we did an update on our accounts. At least a couple weeks. I don't think it's been quite a month, but I do want to kind of go over where our accounts are, what we're doing, how the Beaver Dam is doing, and deliver some interesting news. So, first things first, our interesting news. So not too long ago, we talked about how we were moving closer to family and we didn't have an exact date. We now have an exact date. So at the beginning of August, the first weekend of August, we are going to be moving the Beaver Dam. So I'm very excited about that. We'll see how much it affects our streaming schedule as well as our overall video schedule, but I'm hoping to be able to get it all done and ready to go, so that way that Sunday I can still stream my Grand Arena. We shall see how it goes, though. There's obviously some hustle and bustle that's going to happen. Some problems will always follow, but it's going to be an exciting time. Big thank you to anyone who donated during our last subathon to help move the dam. It was very helpful and will continue to be helpful as we're moving the Beaver Dam. So, exciting stuff right there. So that's the big update for the Beaver Dam. But on top of that, we also have updates on our accounts. So we have 3 accounts here. Our first one is our main account. This is the main account I've been playing since I first started playing the game. We've been playing for over 3 years now. And the big news that we kind of have is we got Ben Solo up to relic level. We've had him sitting on our roster for a while, but we didn't think, it was a great idea. I didn't think it was a great idea to get him up while the Holdocron was around. It just didn't matter to me. Same with our Darth Malgus. We just got Darth Malgus 2 weeks ago. I didn't level him up immediately, obviously, because I just didn't have the Chirotex or anything, but we are at the point where we have our Malgus unlocked. He has 1 Omicron, 1 Zeta, and he's going to be at least Relic 5 by the time that we get to our overall Grand Arena for 3v3. We're in exciting times, guys. We have our beautiful Gungans done. We have our Mommy Mandalore done. We're almost done with our Cairo killers are almost done. I'm very happy about that. Our Cairo killers, this team farming it for Riva Ready. Nah, I hate this farm so much, but it's almost done, guys. We're almost Riva ready. I'm hoping to be Riva ready in time for our guild doing the Riva during this territory battle, so we shall see. I'll be trying to get a guide out there for the Riva battle here soon. Honestly, it's not going to be anything like crazy interesting or impressive. It's going to be mostly going around and gathering as much information as I can and nailing it down as much as possible to explain it as easily as possible. So I will be reaching out to the community and seeing if I can't get a couple people to walk me through their attempts first, and then doing it myself, get them a couple more attempts from other people, and just kind of take a look at it and find the easiest way to explain it. But from what people say, it seems it's mostly just rote, just like Rise of the Empire, ROTE, rote. It is rote. You just kind of follow what people say. So getting Malgus is exciting. Getting done with the Inquisitors is so incredibly exciting. We are finishing up a farm right now, and it's super, super exciting to me. I have been sleeping on this farm for so long just because, we had Gungans, we had Mommy Mandalore, we had all kinds of side projects we were doing, but we are just 3 requirements away from a Jedi Master Luke, so keep an eye out for a Jedi Master Luke guide coming soon to theaters near you. Very exciting, but also on top of that, you may have seen it, I do have my Night Trooper currently at gear 11. I'm about to get the last set of Chirotex he needs to get to gear 12, and then I'll just be getting him to 7 stars, so that way we can gear 12 him. We're not going to up his overall abilities or anything, because I'm honestly not going to have a place for him in my roster, which is kind of sad. I'll do some testing with Night Sisters, but overall I doubt I'm going to actually use him in my roster anytime soon until I get an Imperial Remnant team in my roster. But that being said, that Night Trooper is leading into GL Ahsoka, and I gotta say, it's kind of nice. The requirements for GL Ahsoka so far have been actually fairly kind to my roster specifically. Ahsoka Tano, I have at Relic 7 because I was doing Leviathan testing and trying to find the lowest gear you can do for Marauder for taking down Leviathans. I have General Skywalker at Relic 5 from when I first got him as my very first PP. For those of you who don't know what PP is, it's a passion project. Passion projects are very, very important to the health of the game, and there's nothing wrong with a little PP. Asajj Ventress, I have at Relic 3 from the Lightspeed bundles, and then Night Trooper, obviously I have him at gear 11 right now, so getting him up to Relic 7 shouldn't be too bad, I would hope. So honestly, we're going to finish JML, and then we're jumping right into the Ahsoka Tano Rex and going to start working through those as fast as we can. It'll be an interesting time, to say the least. Going into everything else in this account, I mean, it's mostly just kind of finishing some farms here or there. Like we got Darth Malgus, we got Ben Solo. We're gonna finish up the JML stuff, and then I've got a little side project that I'm thinking about doing, which is right here, Commander Ahsoka Tano. She's sitting in my roster. She's gear 9. I want to make a Ufu Ray team. I think it would be really, really good. So she's another side project for me. But that's basically what I'm working on for this account. We're looking at JML into Ahsoka Tano. Is that what the suggested for my account? Absolutely not. If I was roster reviewing this, I would be like, don't go for Ahsoka. But I want to get a guide out to you guys as fast as I can for Ahsoka, so that way you guys cannot suffer like all of the other people will going through that event. So we're gonna push towards it, and you know, we're doing as much as we can to get to it as fast as we can. We're kind of doing the same thing that we did with Gungans. Going into our next account, we have our free-to-play account. This is the member free-to-play account where our members choose which direction it goes. Their current choice is Afra, and we're actually getting very close. I'm going to say right now, Afra is a terrible starting farm. I'm going to say it now. I'm not saying that you made a bad decision, members, because honestly, you can farm wherever you want. But it's just not a good starting farm because anything with a lot of Kairos is really, really hard for early on accounts. You don't have assault battle teams. You don't have a lot of access to places where you can get Kyrotechs, and so it becomes very troublesome to get Kyrotechs. Everything else is super easy to get. Gear 12 to gear 13 I usually have before I even get the character to gear 12. You know, all of that is super easy. It's just the Kyrotechs that hold me up on this account. That's really what I'm seeing here. We're slowly gearing up some random characters here and there just to fill out teams. Like we just got our full Phoenix to gear 12 except for Captain Rex, just because we don't have the Kyrotechs. But the rest of them are all gear 12. We're working on a Bosk team. We're working on an Empire team with Emperor Palpatine, Mara Jade, and Darth Vader, just so that way we don't just have Darth Vader as a solo, we can also throw him with a team and have a little bit more viability. Hondo Inaka is our current goal of where we're focusing all our energy on, and so he's currently gear 9, but we already dropped his Zeta on him. We're going to be remodding him during this week so we can start using him in Grand Arena, and we're getting close on getting him to gear 10, so it's going to be slow going, but literally today I finished trip from Relic 4 to Relic 5. So we have our first 2 requirements in the bag for Afra, only 2 more to go, plus we have a 5th member for the Afra team. We need that beautiful 4th member, and I'm still trying to decide. There's a couple different options. I'm trying to decide if I want to do B2 just because I got a lot of shards from the recent event. So I'm, you know, doing fairly solid on B2 shards, but then we do have an IG-88 up here at 7-star, and IG-88 may not be the best option for the Afra team, but it does work for the Afra team, and he's a requirement for Executor. So it's tempting to go IG-88, and that's, I'm thinking, what we're going to do overall. But overall, the account's looking solid. We're just kind of farming shards right now and finishing characters. That's really what we're going for. We finished up our Imperial Troopers all to 7 stars. You know, we finished all the kind of stuff that we need for Executor, except for some ships and, you know, 1 or 2 more characters. But like for the most part, most of our stuff is 7-star that we need for our 2 big projects. Very soon we'll be putting out a vote for the members, so that way they can choose what we go into next for this account. Just because, you know, we're going to go for Executor, but we're probably still not going to be ready for Executor after this current Afra farm, just because we've been pretty slow on getting Razor Crest shards. That's one of the downsides of running a side account like we do, is I only play this account once per day. And so normally with an account, you'll play 2 to 3 times a day is probably the average. You know, once in the morning, once in the evening, that kind of thing. But I only play once a day, and so we don't get to check the store very often. And so we're not getting as much Razor Crest shards as we'd like, but I think we'll get there fairly quickly overall. And they just added something very nice for us with the free-to-play stuff that we are doing. For instance, in the Empire faction, the TIE Advance now can come from Galactic War. We've started on the TIE Bomber, all because Galactic War now has this in its shipments. So very, very nice. We're accelerating our Executor farm due to that. Plus, they recently added our beautiful, beautiful Grief Karga and Mandalorian also to the Galactic War shipments. And so we will be starting on them and working on them here soon to go with our Bosk that we're getting right now. So we're actually going to have a Bosk Bounty Hunter team up and running fairly quickly. We're going to be like shifting our focus over to that a little bit and kind of expanding outwards our teams. I honestly think if we get that Bounty Hunter team rocking, I think we could fight our way to Bronzium even this early. Like I think we're on our way to Bronzium. If there wasn't so many people in Carbonite 2 and 1 that like already have a GL and shouldn't be in Carbonite, but they just don't know how to play the game, I think we'd be in Bronzium already, because there's a lot of people in high Carbonite that are either people that don't play, they're mostly AFK, or they're people that just don't know how to play, and so they end up being stuck in Carbonite. I'm like, guys, just play the game, you'll get to the next area. So I'm really excited, and I think we'll be in Bronzium. I want to hope that we'll be in Bronzium by the end of 3v3, but it could take me as long as midway through 5v5 we'll be at the skill rating to at least bump up to Bronzium. But exciting things happening for the Beaver Daddy account. We've got some solid stuff. We're getting some solid holds, honestly, on defense with our beautiful Trip and BT now that they're relicked. So it's been a good time. Going into our final account, this is our free-to-play account where we're testing out our free-to-play farming guide that will be coming out by the end of the month. Another little snippet. I will be working on this at the end of the month, and we're going to try and get it out right before I move. It might be right after I move, but we're going to start working on graphics, working on some stuff to get that out to you guys. So it looks all fancy, and you know exactly what to farm when it comes to a new account to be the most efficient you possibly can. Overall, this account is making progress. You can see it's already level 77, which is wild. It's as you're getting into the level 70s area, you start to lose out on quests. The quests start to peter out, which was interesting to see. So they push you really hard to get to level 70, and then you start to peter out on overall quests that give XP, which is interesting. So, you know, you still got to maintain the quest because there's a lot of stuff like Grief Karga, Mando, good stuff that comes from them in general, but we've kind of slowed down and we're working through our teams, and so we've had the time to start working on our Imperial Troopers and get to somewhere. What we're really focusing down, like obviously our gear levels are going up on the Krex team. That's kind of what we're going for right now is gear 8 Krex, because once you get to gear 8, the gear 8 to 12 is really easy to do with raid 1 currency, but then like getting to gear 8, you kind of need to use energy, or just over time you'll pick up that gear, but early on it becomes kind of difficult to get that like level, you know, 5 to 8, because it just requires a lot of regular energy, and so we're slowly working our way towards getting a full gear 8 team, and then we're working our way towards getting a set of ships ready to go. So obviously we have quite a bit of ship shards for the Ghost, quite a bit for Sun Fact, Geonosian Soldier, he's almost 3 stars, but we have TIE Advanced ready and raring to go. We have TIE Bomber ready and raring to go. Very soon we're going to have a Slave 1 and Boba Fett in our roster, and that will be 5-star. We're going to have a TIE Fighter at 5-star. So all we need is one more dark side ship, and we will be able to do the Zeta ability material. And one of the big problems is going to be just gear level in general on our characters, because trying to keep up on gear has been really rough. And we tried the Naboo raid on this account, and obviously our guild was not up to the challenge, so we didn't get any raid material, so it did put our account a little behind. But as you can see by Slave 1, all we need to do is to, you know, basically activate it, and we are good. Like, let's get our 5-star right now. So we basically just have to start upgrading our ships to get to the point that we need to be. But the problem is we're a little behind on our wonderful, beautiful, I don't even have enough credits for that, gosh. Our wonderful, beautiful, I'm sorry, my brain's farting. Our wonderful, our beautiful, our magnificent, I'll get to the end of these adjectives and remember what we're talking about. Our beautiful Krex team is just falling behind, honestly, and it's kind of worrying. And so, you know, we need to keep up on our Krex team, but we also need to be leveling up our pilots. And so you can see here I've started on Darth Vader, and I'm starting to kind of work on some of the pilots overall. TIE Fighter I'm starting to get up. But like, it's been honestly kind of rough to try to keep up with like the gear and that kind of thing. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things we struggle with in these newer accounts nowadays, is just kind of maintaining our gear levels and that kind of thing, because they push you so fast to level 70, and then you're just like sitting there and you're like, I don't have anything to use, because I don't have the gear ready for gear 7. And so like it just becomes increasingly hard as time goes on. So allies are a huge thing that have been super helpful for this account. I could not be surviving right now without allies, so make sure you get some good allies on a new account. But overall, exciting things. Our Imperial Troopers are almost at least finished unlocking. We just got to Admiral Piet's farm today. So, you know, going on that. We're getting close to finishing up our overall Phoenix. And we're even getting close. You probably saw it, but we're even getting close on the Ghost, getting it to 7-star as well. So solid stuff is happening in the Beaver Dam and in the Baby Dam. I'm excited to see where these accounts go. Excited to, you know, continue to work on them. This account is so interesting to work on, and I'm loving it, honestly. Like I'm getting close to the point where I can do the event for our CLS, which is really good. You know, we're working on our Imperial Troopers to do the same thing. We might end up using a mix of our Imperial Troopers, whoever we can get to 7 stars, with a couple of our other Empire, just to do what we need to do to get to CLS quickly. Savage we haven't really started on because we're still working on getting Princess Leia. The moment we finish Princess Leia, Savage is next on my list. Obviously Ewoks, we're slowly picking up the shards because most of the shards for these characters just comes from guild store, and so it's super easy, you know. So we're making some solid progress on Han Solo as well. Great plug-and-play character. Excited to have him in the roster. So we're making strides. It's a little slow going, as it looks like it's slow going, but that's mostly because they push you so fast, and so it looks like worse than it is. We're actually doing solid work, and so I'm excited. Well, the one thing I'm going to encourage each and every one of you, though, is try to get those Zetas as fast as you can, because that's honestly one of the biggest struggle. Is on my other account, by 77, I was already getting close to the point where I had Zetas. On this account, I just don't have the gear to get the ships up to be able to do the Zeta ability thing. Like, I don't have the ship credits, I don't have anything. So make sure you're doing your Galactic War, make sure you're focusing down those ship shards, and you'll get there and you'll have a good time. But that is my update for the Beaver Dam. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you loved looking at my accounts and learning how to pick apart my accounts. I'm curious to hear what your guys' thoughts on the Baby Dam is so far, because it's been a very interesting time playing through the new free-to-play changes. It's super fast-paced, and you have to, you know, you have to get through it pretty quickly. I'm glad we're doing our new player guides, because honestly, it's a lot to handle, and I want to make that as easy as a transition as possible for new players, because I love how fast-paced it is, but it can also end up being just too much and overwhelming. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.